ball rolling, please welcome to the stage your next act, Mr. Paul Scoble!
Good evening.
Good evening.
There is a theory that in a true democracy the people will always end up with the government they deserve. Well, if that's true, then we must be a nation of bastards. I was thinking about the way I feel about our current scumbag leaders, and I realised something quite interesting. Even though there is very little difference between David Cameron and George Osborne, they're both rich, privileged aristocrats who have never known hardship or poverty, I and most other people I talk to hate Osborne so much more than they hate Cameron, even though they are practically the same person. To illustrate this difference in strength of feeling, if I was walking down the road and I saw David Cameron lying in the gutter on fire, I would piss on him. Obviously, to put the fire out and save his life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd probably be there inside going, ha 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 ha, I'm pissing on David Cameron, hey, got some in his mouth. But I would still do it, I would still save his life. If, however, if I was walking down the road and I saw George Osborne lying in the gutter on fire, I wouldn't piss on him. I'd just stand there and watch him burn. If I ever have a brain tumour, I'm going to call it George. So I've been thinking recently about why people have such a negative gut reaction to Osborne. It's something instinctual, something more than his sliminess and general unlovableness. And I think I've worked out what people are picking up unconsciously. I think George Osborne is a dacrophile. A dacrophile is someone who gets sexually excited watching other people cry. A dacrophile is hot for tears. You can see how excited he gets talking about cuts. He can barely contain his excitement. No matter how low real-term wages drop or how hard a time people are having, that nasty, smug little smirk that looks like a ripple on the surface of a sewer is never very far from his lips. Laughing and joking as he attacks the weakest and most vulnerable people in our society. Every time I think about George and his love of other people's misery, I imagine the scene in number 11 Downing Street. George is in his office with his two ministerial aides. Now, I don't know what George Osborne's ministerial aides are actually called, so I'm choosing to call them Phoebes and Clamper. I don't know why. Clamper, read the financial headlines. Yes, sir. 1.7 million people lose out in pension reforms. Oh, yes. People scared of being poor in their old age. Do you think they cried, Clamper? I think some of them must have, sir. Oh, yes. That's so good. Phoebes? Phoebes the tweezers, Phoebes? Yes, sir. Clamper, pass us the jeweller's eyeglass, will you? Right. Hang on, just behind, yeah, there we go, sir. There we are. Sorry about before, sir. I was manipulating a pube. More misery, Clamper. Record number of families forced into using food banks. Ooh, faster, Phoebes, faster. Homelessness in the capital increases by 62% in 2 years. Did they cry, Clamper? Did they cry? I suppose some of them could have, sir, you fucking little freak. I'd imagine most homeless people cry themselves to sleep every night. Oh yes. Oh, I like that, Clamper. There were some very cold nights earlier in the year, sir. I'm sure some homeless people must have cried themselves to sleep before freezing to death, their final tears frozen to their cheek. Clamper! That's so hot. I think that's quite sad. Sad, Phoebes? Sad? Emotion, Phoebes? Caring? We're Tories. these Phoebes. We do not care. Clamper, remind me to get someone in from MI5 to see Phoebes. Don't worry, Phoebes. We'll torture the humanity out of you. Come on, Clamper. More misery. I am starting to droop. Woman commits suicide over the bedroom tax. And with the knowledge that their policies were actually killing people, George manages to maintain a rampant, pus-encrusted 2.5-inch erection. He then calls on his ministerial aides to bring me the arse of Nick Clegg. Because, as I'm sure you're all aware, the Tories always practice fucking Nick Clegg up the arse before they rape every other man, woman and child in this country. And with a disgusting image of Nick Clegg being brutally raped by George Osborne, I should bring this to a close. Thanks for laughing. You've been really kind. Good night. With the